It very much floats as a trilogy, which I think might lead us into a brief spoiler section, you guys. So we're going to get into spoilers now, so be aware. If you don't want to know what happens, turn away. We've got about 3 minutes left to talk about spoilers. So basically, yeah, at the beginning, the reason Caesar gets all revenge heavy is the general himself drops in to their sort of waterfall hideout, which was gorgeous, and caps Caesar's son that comes back and tells them about this promised land, and Caesar's wife. Kills his wife and oldest son.
He thinks that it's Caesar because,
exactly.
he just sees the wife and he sees another ape with her, and so he just
kills them both. But Caesar walks in right afterwards, and there's this like face to face that's so brilliant, so awesome.
Yeah,
and he tries to shoot him, and Caesar like rolls out of the way, and he freaking he escapes and gets up the rope, and that's the moment from the trailer that you see where Caesar jumps out through the waterfall and he grabs the rope, but Woody Harrelson cuts the rope and Caesar goes dropping.
You know what? I thought that was the end of the movie.
Really? You thought that was going to be the end confrontation?
Yeah.
Really?
I thought that was going to be the end, but it's the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, it's right at the front. And so the rest is a revenge tale.
Yeah.
And Caesar and Maurice and the silverback and the other ape,
giant gorilla guy.
Yeah, they go around and they go back. They go try and track down Woody Harrelson's crew to take him out.
Right.
But when they get there, they find that Woody Harrelson and crew have found the ape tribe and captured them all.
Yeah, while they were trying to go to the promised land.
Exactly. But along the way, they do find this little girl, and the first time I cried, I have to mention, is the silverback, the big silverback ape. They happen across this gorgeous tree that's cherry blossoms or something like that. They're blossoms of some kind, but they're beautiful flowers in a tree. And the little girl's like looking at him, and this big silverback comes up, and he like looks at her, and he seems intimidating.
Yeah.
But then he like reaches up and he grabs a flower and puts it behind her ear.
Yeah.
And like they have this beautiful bonding moment, and then later on he gets shot, I think, right? During a skirmish.
Well, no, he gets stabbed.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. Stabbed with a bayonet.
Yeah.
From one of the soldiers. They get to this little outpost on the outside of the big base, and he gets stabbed. And the little girl, like he pulls the bayonet out, and he like falls over, and he's on his back, and Caesar's cupping his head and stuff, and then the little girl like pushes through. And she's like crying, and she takes the flower out and puts it behind his ear, and he like you can see his like I'm getting a little teary like thinking about it. He gets this smile and this moment of beauty in this movie of war,
right?
As like it was just so good. Go ahead, pick up.
I think that was the moment I cried too, because it was such a beautiful moment for the end of a character like that, where he was like kind of like Caesar's right hand man. I would say Maurice is kind of the left hand, because
the enforcer, the
protector, and throughout the first couple of movies, Caesar does save him, you know, like and so he was finally able to save Caesar.
Yeah, and he even mentions that. Like, that's the last thing he says to Caesar. He's like, well, at least I was able to protect you this time.
Yeah.
And it was so beautiful, man.
Yeah.
So beautiful. So let's hit the end real quick.
Okay.
Go ahead. You hit that. I'm trying to recover stuff.
Well, I think that you have to, like, you have to...
Hang on. Pause.
Okay.
You're going to have to stop and pick up right there.
Well, I think we need to talk about the primitive aspect of the humans. That the virus has mutated, and now is like turning all these humans into like sort of like apes, in a sense.
Yeah, and they're becoming what I mentioned earlier from the original Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
When Charlton Heston sort of arrives, the humans there don't talk, and they're very primitive.
Yeah.
And so in this new version, they've finally given a reason as to why that happens. And the virus has mutated and started to affect humans, dumbing them down to a primitive level.
Yeah.
It's really clever.
Because, like in the original... Planet of the Apes, you just assume so much time has passed to where that they've de-evolved, basically.
But that's not the case.
But that's not the case.
And that's really cool. It actually gives... That's what I was alluding to earlier with Woody Harrelson's character raging against the dying of the light. He sees that the human race has this new virus happening, and he's trying to cut them all off from it. Right. So his crew is actually being pursued by the real army trying to take him out. So that's a really interesting wrinkle that you find out.
Because he's such an extremist. He even killed his own son because he knew that...
Because his son devolved. Yeah, he got the virus.
He got infected. So
it's a really cool... It's like... He's got this the same motivation our hero has. His son died, except he killed his own son, and he's just trying to make sure that humans don't devolve.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a sympathetic reason. That's the thing. A lot of movies are only as good as your bad guy.
Yeah.
And while he wasn't on screen that much, and while he seems on the surface sort of, the base, he's actually got some depth to him.
Yeah.
And you can understand his reasoning. He doesn't want to see the human race collapse into a primitive state.
Yeah.
So because
even when he brings this across, the scientists say, "Well, we'll figure out something," and he's like, "No, we're all going to become the apes, and the apes will take us over."
Yeah.
So.
And then they're getting to the other sad moment for me. Basically, Caesar. Caesar is basically, he's helped free the apes and gotten them through an underground tunnel to get out, and he's trying to sort of take out the base on his own if he can. And
well, the other army is attacking.
Yeah, the other army is attacking.
So he can take advantage.
Exactly, he can take advantage of the chaos and try and take out the general's base once and for all. And while he does, he's about to throw a grenade onto a leaking huge gas tank and blow everything up, when suddenly he gets, in a really cool shot, and by the way, we need to hit on the cinematography. The cinematography was outstanding in this film.
Well, I think we also need to hit on Woody Harrelson, the demise of his character.
Well, yeah, we will. Okay, go ahead and do that first, because that happened already,
Yeah, so before he gets the grenades and everything, he makes his way to Woody Harrelson's...
Caesar, we're talking about.
Yeah, Caesar gets to Woody Harrelson's perch or whatever, and he realizes that Woody Harrelson has been infected by the virus.
By the virus, and he's devolved.
and I think that touches on what the movie is pretty much based on, is about mercy. And he
even asks Caesar, essentially he grabs Caesar's hand and puts the gun to his own head because he can't talk. He knows he no longer has the higher functions, and that's what he was raging against the whole movie. But Caesar still can't bring himself to take his revenge, and he's like, no, if you're gonna do it, you do it.
Yeah. He puts the gun down, and then Woody Harrelson puts the gun to his head.
Blows his own head off. And then we get to the point where Caesar's like, okay, that's done.
I just can't believe how graphic that movie was.
It was really aggressive. They didn't show the blowing the head off. They cut to a tasteful thing.
Yeah, but even when, right where we're getting to.
The other ape, because that's the other layer, right? They mentioned in the trailer that there are apes working with Woody Harrelson's crew.
Right.
And Woody Harrelson's crew are clearly mistreating them, calling him donkey and all this stuff, but they just think they're on the winning side. And actually, that's actually another thing that's interesting about the story, is that it ties in so much with the last movie that the apes that are helping Woody Harrelson's team are actually Koba supporters from the previous movie. Yeah. They hate Caesar so much that they're willing to help the humans. But one of them in particular has, the main jailer for Caesar has a tete-a-tete with him at one point. And so he's the one sort of helping the humans at the end against the other humans, and he sees Caesar about to try and blow things up, but he also sees that Caesar gets stopped by a crossbow arrow from one of the soldiers that they released out of mercy. That's the Saving Private Ryan moment.
Yeah.
They let him go, and then one comes back and fucking shoots an arrow through Caesar's side, stopping him from doing the thing. But then you see he's about to raise up and shoot the other crossbow, And the human, another human, is telling the donkey ape to grab the grenade launcher, and then all of a sudden, the human about to shoot Caesar just explodes, and you see the other ape there with the grenade launcher. But the other human that was asking for it just turns and pulls out his pistol and just blows the other ape's head off.
Yeah.
But leaves Caesar enough time to explode the gas tank. God, it's such a good movie. Like, even describing it, it's so awesome. It's so cool, you guys. Even though we're ruining it, it's still so much fun to see.
So many tense moments.
But that's the thing. So Caesar blows up the base. He snaps off the arrow and he goes and he meets up with the crew, right? Yeah. And they end up making it to the land that his son brought to them, even though his son's dead. Yeah. And so the apes have found their new home, but him and Maurice are sort of sitting at the top of a hill looking over everything. Yeah. And
watching the apes
like at their new home. Yeah. And watching not only that, but watching his son play with Nova. Yeah. By the way, spoiler also, the little girl ends up being Nova from the original series. I don't remember exactly where Nova came in, but I know there's a female character, a female human called Nova brought in, and the little girl ends up being fucking Nova. And even though I didn't see the original series, I was like, yes, that's brilliant. Yeah. They did so, and Cornelius is the surviving son of Caesar. Yes. So for you apes heads, you know what that means, man. Like they kept it in. And so anyway, they're overlooking it, and Caesar sort of reveals, he starts to fade, and Maurice sees that he's got the arrow tip still in him, and it's a mortal wound. Yeah. And Maurice, oh my God, freaking Maurice.
Oh, man.
He drops a tear rolls down Maurice's face, and it's so aggressive because he sees that his general, his leader,
his best
friend is going to die, and he just tells him, he just says, your son will know what you did, and he will know who Caesar was. Yeah. And it was just so amazing, and then Caesar just sort of falls over slowly.
But
it was so
smile.
Logan. With a smile, he achieved everything he wanted, and it honestly, I like it affected me so much that I had that sort of, when people die, some people when they have near-death experiences, they say their life flashed before their eyes. I was like, I flashed back to Dawn, where it was like James Franco first opening the thing and showing Caesar as a little kid. Rise, not Dawn. Sorry. Where Caesar was a little baby monkey, and I was like, this was Caesar's story. This was Caesar's trilogy. Oh my God, it ended so brilliantly. Yeah. So yeah, that's the last thing we can pretty much spoil.
Yeah, we can't say
enough about this.
Say enough about this movie.
It's so good, you guys. You even though we spoiled stuff at the end, please go watch this movie. It's just so worth your time. Yeah. We didn't see it in 3D, so if it gets released in 3D as well, I don't think it's necessary. It was extraordinarily effective without it. Yeah. And so maybe save yourself some money, or give it a try. Let us know how it was if you did.
It was a beautiful movie.
So. It was gorgeous. Again, the cinematography was amazing. Yeah. But I was so invested in the characters that I was cinematography, cool, but I want to know what happens.
And one thing that I loved about all the war parts was that, there was no shaky cam.
No.
You could really see everything that was going on. And just the carnage of war. Yeah. And I don't think that they get that across in a lot of war
No,
movies.
I agree. And like you said, after we watched it, after the credits started rolling, I can't wait to see Matt Reeves' vision
of Batman.
Oh my gosh. It's going to be so good. If this is what he can do, if this is the level he's at, I can't wait to see what he does in the Bat universe. Because, guys, War for the Planet of the Apes was amazing. And you owe it to yourself to go check it out, especially if you like the other two. Yeah. But if you haven't seen the other two, go watch them and then go watch this. Yeah. Do yourselves a favor. It's so worth it.
Or go see this movie and then go watch the other two. Because
I think you'd have more of an impact. Because honestly, I'm invested now. I watched the first one in 2011 or whatever when the first one came out. Yeah. Maybe 13, I don't know, but nonetheless, I was into it, and this was such a brilliant, fulfilling payoff for a trilogy. You just don't say that enough about movies, and this is one that I'm able to say it about, so I'm saying
it's just so solid.
It really is.
Solid trilogy.
It really is. Remember, guys, apes together, strong.
Strong.
All right, so that's going to do it for our review of War for the Planet of the Apes. Maybe went a little glowingly on this one, but honestly, I can't help it. We're basking in it, and we're rolling.
There wasn't a bad thing about that movie.
It was really. Some people might consider it long, but I didn't even say that. So thanks very much for watching. Until next time, I've been Cecil Laird.
Derk Harron.
Make sure you comment down below. Let us know if you're going to go see this movie, or if you did see it, what did you think of it? I guess you can go ahead and spoil since there was spoiler section in the review. But yeah, I'd love to know what you guys think of this, if you're excited about it or if you aren't excited about it, or if you did see it and you loved it or hated it. I want to know what you guys think. But until next time, remember, stay scared.